Alright, so I let you equal that middle term, e to the x. So I'm going to go back and put u squared plus 4u minus 21 equals 0. So it's got to multiply to give you what? Negative 21 and add to give you 4. So that's to be u plus 7 and u minus 3 equals 0. Now you go back in at this point and put e to the x. These are on your math workshop test next week. You will have one like this, so please be paying attention. I put e to the x back in for that, plus 7 equals 0, and e to the x minus 3 equals 0. Now, when you have e to the x plus 7 equals 0, and I bring that 7 over as a negative 7, I'm going to end up taking the natural log of that. But can we take natural logs of negative numbers? No, because you have, if you plug that in a calculator class, you will get an error on there. So you know that that is not an option. So you go over to e to the x minus 3 equals 0. Bless you. E to the x equals 3. I'm going to take the natural log of both sides. And natural log of 3 is what? So I'm going to do that for me. 3 decimal places. .098. Does everybody agree? Thank you. So that would be your answer there. But if you typed in natural log of negative 7, do that on your calculator. Get error, so that can't be it, okay? Main thing is you let u equal that middle and then plug it back in. Number 7. What do you notice on number 7? They all log base what? 4. So x equals, I can drop it, can I? 3 times what? Product rule. X equals 3x minus 6. That gives me negative 2x equals negative 6. X equals 3. Number 8. What is throughout the whole problem here? Natural log. Natural log. I can drop that. It's plus, so I can do the what rule? Product rule. I'm going to multiply these. Pull it out. That's 6x squared minus 9x plus 2x minus 3 equals 10. That gives me 6x squared minus 7x minus 3. Bring that 10 over because it's quadratic. Get it set equal to 0. So 6x squared minus 7x minus 13 equals 0. Now I have bust them up. It's got to multiply to give me negative 78 and add to give me negative 7. Well, that's 6 and negative 13. So 6x squared plus 6x minus 13x minus 13. Here I could take a 6x out. That leaves an x plus 1. Here I take a negative 13. That gives me an x plus 1. So I'm left with 6x minus 13. X plus 1 equals 0. Set both of them equal to 0. I get x equals negative 1. Well, I'll go back to my original problem. If I put negative 1 in here, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 plus 1 is a negative 2. Are laws defined for negative numbers? No. Move this over here. I get x equals 13 over 6. Am I good with that? Yes. So that's my only answer. Alright. Number 9, we want to evaluate this trig function. Where does arc sine live in quadrant 1 and 4? And we have a negative square root of 2 over 2. What quad would that be in? 4. Very good. 4. What reference angle family? Pi 4. Which pi 4 value lives in quad 4 that we can write here? Negative pi 4. I know it's 7 pi 4, but remember, you can write 7 pi 4 a different way, and that falls in the interval. Arc cosine. Where does arc cosine live in quad 1 and 2? Okay. Arc cosine is positive, so what quadrant would this be in? 1. And which family member? What family member of pi over 6 lives there? There's your answer. Are there any questions on that? We can put that up. Alright, yesterday we got down to what, number 9 going over this? Okay. So let's look at 11. You should have done 11, 13, and 15. Number 11, we want to find the derivative. Tomorrow you have a quiz on formal definition. It's 5 questions. Or 6. 6. 4 formal definition, 2 easy like this, okay? Know your formal definition. Limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. If you have been absent, it's imperative that you watch the videos tonight to be ready for that quiz. Alright. So we're finding the derivative of number 11. How many terms do I have in this problem? On number 11, how many terms? 4. You're going to find the derivative of each one of them. S prime, that is the notation for derivative. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 minus 1 is what? 2. 2 times 5 is? 2 minus 1 is? 1 times negative 3 is? 1 minus 1 is? So I don't need to put t to the 0, do I? And then what is the derivative of any constant number? 0. So that is my answer. Number 13. You bring your power down. 7 times 1 is what? And take 1 off of it, so it'd be x to the what? Very good. Now, I have 2 terms here on number 15. 2 terms on number 15. And they both involve the trig, so what you're going to do is find the trig derivative of each of them. What's the derivative for sine? Cosine. What's the derivative of cosine? Negative sine. So I got a negative sign, which will be what? Very good. I'm giving you 2 minutes to do number 2. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do 2, 4, and 6. Let's go. 2, 4, and 6. Number 15 will be pi over 2 cosine x plus sine x.
Do you not solve?
Like finish solving it? Yeah. You just find a derivative. What we did on the other ones was you found the derivative, then I wanted an I rock at a certain point. Well, here I'm not asking for the I rock. I just want the derivative. Yes. So number 2, 4, and 6. If you finish them before I call time, go on to the next one. Yes. Have you watched the video?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to first rewrite it. That was these examples here. So it's going to be x to the negative 5th. Then bring negative 5 times 1 is. Okay, and then negative 5 minus 1 will be. Now rewrite it for your final answer. Negative 5 over x to the 6. You can work in your grades. Very fast. All right, number 2. What's the first thing you would do on that? Do I need to rewrite that? Yes, I'll rewrite that as how. X to the negative fifth. Are there any questions so far on that? All right, now, negative 5 times 1 is what? Negative 5. I subtract 1 off that. Would that be negative 4 or negative 6? Very good. That's y prime. I found the derivative. Now I want to write my final answer. Y prime equals negative 5 over what? Because I don't want to end up with a negative exponent in my final answer. Now number 4 is very easy. You probably can do that in 2 seconds. How many terms do we have here? 3. 2 times negative 2 is 2 minus 1 is 1 times 3 is 1 minus 1 is. Do I need to put that t there? No. And what's the derivative of negative 6? 0. Very good. Now number 6, let's talk about that. There's a lot of rewriting I need to do there. You could do this one of 2 ways. You could do y equals x to the 1/2, because isn't square root, when you take the square root, same thing as raising to 1/2. And then you could put this over x, or you could do this, and I'm going to show you why it don't matter. Because both of those, right here, you could do the difference, the quotient, and subtract 1/2 minus 1. Or you can rewrite here and add them. You're going to do one that rule either way. You got what I'm saying here? So, if you brought it up top like this, what's 1/2 plus negative 1? Because aren't I multiplying those now since they're together? So what's 1/2 plus negative 1? Negative 1/2. So, after I brought it up, y equals x to the 1/2 and x to the negative 1. I simplified. 1/2 plus negative 1 is negative 1/2. I added those together. Now, I'm going to find the derivative. Y prime equals negative 1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2. X, negative 1/2 minus 1 is negative 3/2. That is my derivative, but I want to clean it up. That is my square root. My cube goes under the radical. So that would be my answer there. Are there any questions on that one? I'll give you 2 minutes to do 8, 10, and 12. 3, I'll give you 3 minutes. Here we go. You can talk within your group, it's fine. So on number 8, the first thing you need to do is rewrite it, don't you? How can you rewrite number 8? I'm just helping you out. X to the what? And go from there. Let's go. Bring it down here. 1/5 X. And 1/5 minus 1. You're smart enough, you can do this now. Jennifer, what was the hardest test you took this morning?
Miss Brown's English test, or it was our poetry terms. Like our Quizlet, it was like the actual definition, but the test, it was just like all examples.
I was so confused. Everything seems similar.
That was your hardest test of the year.
Yes.
Are you in this class? Oh, no, he's talking about APB. All right, here we go. Let's look at these. Guys, please just don't sit there. Some of us are just sitting there and thinking it's just coming. All right. Number 8. I'm going to rewrite that as x to the 1/5. 1/5 times 1 is 1/5 x. 1/5 minus 1 is negative 4/5. If you can't do that math in your head, do it and put it in the calculator. Now, I want to rewrite that as 1/5. What root would that be? 4 or 5? All right. Number 10 is easy, isn't it? What's derivative of 11? What's derivative of x? 1. So f prime equals 1. All right. Number 12. Y equals 4 over x to the negative third. First thing I need to do is do what? Rewrite it. Since it was negative here, it comes up as what? Positive, doesn't it? Now, what's 3 times 4? And 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, do 14 and 16. Now, on 16, a little helpful hint. On number 16, you need to cube all that, don't you? Okay. 1 over 5, the fifth root of x to the 4th. Take that to remind me. Juniors, look at me for just a minute. Just juniors, seniors, you keep working. I've got a question. Were y'all ever told that y'all could take the enrollment since you already PreCal this year? Has that ever been? Okay. Okay, just okay. We good. Keep working. All right, number 14. Number 14. What do you need to do first to rewrite that? And that's the x to the what? Negative 1. Y prime. Now, what's negative 1 times 1? Negative 1 minus 1 is? Okay, I'm going to clean that up in a minute. What's the derivative of sine? Negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. Negative 2 minus 1 is? Oh, wait, I just did that, didn't I? I'm doing the... Now, when you get to calculus, sometimes you do the second derivative and the third derivative. I just need to clean it up. Sorry. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So now y prime equals negative 1 over x squared minus 3 cosine x. I just brought that under to clean it up. Sorry, guys. All right, number 16. Number 16. I need to do what with that? Cube it. G prime equals pi over. What's 3 cubed? Now, pi is like a number, isn't it? So I could rewrite that. Let me just move it. So I have this function, g of x equals pi over 27x cubed. I can rewrite that as pi over 27x cubed. Do y'all agree? You agree? Matthew, you agree? Do you understand what I just did? Oh yeah, negative 3. I was thinking about, I just want to make sure you understood the pi over 27. It is negative 3 because it was in the denominator. Bring it up. Now, I'm going to say negative 3 times this, which is negative 3 pi over 27. I subtract 1. Would that be negative 2 or negative 4? Negative 4. I can reduce this to negative pi over 9 x to the negative 4th. And how can I finally write my final answer? To the 4th, yep.
Wait, so you multiply that negative 3 to the pi.
Negative 3 times pi over 27 is negative 3 pi over 27.
Why don't you multiply it to the 27?
Okay, buddy. If you have pi over 27 and you times it by negative 3, isn't that the same thing as putting that over 1? That's what it is. And that'd be negative 3 pi over 27. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright. I want you to turn to page 27 right now. We'll just keep practicing. I want you to do 1 through 4 right now, then we're going to go over it. 1 through 4. That's all we're doing is keep practicing this. Well, let's do 1 through 6, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes. How about that? 1 through 6 in 5 minutes. Page 27. And when I'm walking around, I want to see you doing it. That's not sitting there. Please. Gracie, did you finish that? Cherry quiz. Bring it up to the table. Shay, you need the other one, don't you? Thank you. Yes. Finish 1 through 6, just keep working at 12. Work hard for me, you won't have any homework tonight. Yep. When you see the word differentiate in your direction, that means find the derivative. Has everybody had a chance to do 1 through 6? All right, let's look at number 1. That's an easy one. What's the derivative of 5? 0. Very good. Thank you. Number 2. F prime of x equals, what's this times this equal? 90. X to the? This is better than that long way, isn't it? Okay, number 3. I'll put y what? Prime equals 5 times 4 is x to the, and what's the derivative of x? Very good. Number 4, f prime of x equals, what's the, I had 3 terms, so I'm going to find the derivative of each. What's the derivative of the first one? X to the, what's the derivative of negative 5x? And derivative of negative 3 is? Very good. Number 5, now let's watch this. 5/4 times 3. What is that? 15 over 4. X. 5/4 minus 1 would be what? 1/4. Okay? You can write your final answer as 15/4. The 4th root of x. You could write it like that on the side of it. Or you could write it in the numerator. It just was not go in the denominator. You could write it either way. I will take this or this, but it would not go in the denominator because that is not negative. Do you see that? Number 6. Y prime equals, what is 2/3 times 5/4? 5/6, because you get 10 over 12, don't you? And you reduce that to 5/6. 2/3 minus 1 is what? What is it? Negative 1/3. Very good. Now, I can't leave that negative there, so y prime equals, when you raise something to a third, that means you're taking the what root? Cube root. The cube root. Alright, let's work on 7 to 10. Okay, what part? The multiplying or how I found the negative 1/3? 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 4 is 12. I reduced that and got 5/6 there. You see that, bud? Then, 2/3 minus 1, you put that in the calculator, do it in your head, that's negative 1/3. Okay, I can't leave that like that. Get rid of the negative exponent, I put it in the denominator. Does that make sense, bud? You can work in your groups on these. If you finish the 10, turn back and do the 11 and 12. Then you can call it a day. But we're going to go over step 10. Tomorrow we're going to take a quiz and keep practicing this. That's all we're doing. Practice, practice, practice. All right, number 7. Y prime equals, what's negative 5 times negative 4? Negative 5 times negative 4 is 20. Very good. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. How will I get rid of that? Put that x in the what? Very good. Number 8. Y prime, well, first I'm going to rewrite it as 3x to the what? Negative 3. Very good. Now, what's negative 3 times 3? Negative 9x minus 1 is what? Do y'all understand that? Now, how do I rewrite that? Very good. Number 9. Y prime equals 2/3 times 1 is 2/3. 2/3 minus 1, it will be a negative 1/3. Now let's see how I write that. That variable's got to go to the denominator. And it's going to go as a cube root. 2/3, you got a cube root of x. Because that's the root, that's your exponent. Number 10, I need to rewrite that first. That's negative 2x to the what? 1/4. F prime equals 1/4 times 2 is negative what? Negative 1/2, because you get negative 2/4. So you got negative 1/2. 1/4 minus 1 would be a negative 3/4. Watch how I write this. 2, this is the cube root or the fourth root? 4. So that's the index number, and it's x to the what? Cubed. So your answer would be, negative 1/2 times the fourth root of x cubed. Okay. We're stopped there today and do 11 and 12 tomorrow.